Trying to see if anybody's there or if I can figure out if I'm there or not. Hello, hello, hello. Is anybody there? Hello, hello, hello. Is anybody there? Is that you, John? Are you on there? I see what's up. Maybe send me one more note. I know, rookies and lives. I see Paula on there. So I'm gonna assume I'm live. This is kind of new for me. I did a live last year and it was to give away a belt. And I've had a few people, that wasn't the topic of my live today, but I'll go ahead and talk about it. I've had a few people ask me if I'm going to be giving away a belt or anything soon, and I am. I will announce that we get closer to my 1-year anniversary at the end of this month. And I'll announce that. I'm going to be giving away, my hopes are to give away maybe 3 belts. And give people an opportunity to kind of pick what they're looking for on a belt. So, but I thought maybe, I don't know, it's a little bit different. I can't edit this, can I? So just follow along here. I'm working on a pretty large project. I've been working on this project now for, I guess, a week. I've got a bag, I call it the Weekender bag. And there's quite a bit of work to it. And I had someone ask me to make them one of the bags. And they're a lot of pieces and parts that go into it. Let me show you really quickly what that Weekender bag looks like. This is it here. And when I made this originally, I think I had a week of time in it, and it was all hand sewn. And there's a lot of work just in making these straps and the handles. This part here is the trim piece that goes on the top here. That's what I'm working on here. I changed the design a little bit. Instead of having it come out here, I'm starting here at the point. So that's what I'm working on today in the shop. I hope everybody's having a good day. We're getting into December, and that becomes the busy time of the year for a lot of people. I talked a little bit about trying to make sure you leave time in your schedule for things for yourself during this time of year. And that's kind of hard to do. I think when I was saying that on the video, I was trying to probably talk to myself as much as anybody else. Because as we get here towards the beginning of December, I am busy and I'm still taking orders. And I think most people at this point, if I ask them to wait till after the first of the year, Christmas, then I think they would be okay with that, but I don't know how to say no. So at this point, I'm still trying to get it committed, and I don't have really all the way up till Christmas to work on it. I've got some travel with my kids as I get closer to Christmas here, so I'll be out of the shop here in another probably week. I'll be out of the shop. So I can take a few things with me to work on, but I won't be taking the shop with me. So I hope that everybody else paid attention to my advice, even though I didn't. And so anyway, so I'm working on the strips here, and I've had, I guess one thing I want to do is I want to say I appreciate it. I've had a lot of really good support on my channel. I've had the channel now for, I'm gonna call it 11 months. The end of December, it'll be a year. And in that length of time, I've picked up 1,200 subscribers. I've got, I think, about 230 videos out there. And shoot, I've got, you know, I'll call it good success. I see channels out there that have, you know, more subscribers in a shorter period of time, and maybe their item is a little bit more wide reaching, or maybe they're an entertaining person and I'm not quite so entertaining. The goal of my channel is to help people to, to encourage people to go out and try new things. If you've got a business opportunity that you wanted to try, then I'm trying to encourage people to go out and try that. Now, my leather work I'm going to call it more of a hobby than a business. I call it a business hobby. I do sell some items, but I just enjoy doing it more than anything else, and it keeps me busy, even though I seem to stay pretty busy even without that. So, if there's anybody that wants to make comments here, go ahead. I see I've only got a couple of people here. I don't know if Paul is still here with me or not. I see my brother John's there. I hope he's having a good day today down there in Florida, and that the winter weather's not there. It was chilly here this morning. It was 43 this morning. And here in the Phoenix area, that's about the temperature where people bring parkas out and start wearing those down here in Phoenix. So I see Paul is still there. I appreciate that. And I don't know, like I said, if you get any questions or not, but I'm going to work along here. I don't know that I need to do 100% commentary, but I'm doing a saddle stitch on this pattern. This pattern is called Gunslinger. And that's not what I name it. That's what the pattern is called. And like I said, I'm working on this piece that goes along the top, and then I've got some handles over here that I need to get glued up and trimmed and ready to install. It seems like I'm getting nowhere on this project, but there's a lot of work before I really start sewing the bag together. And I guess once I get to where I'm sewing the bag together, then it'll probably come together pretty quickly. When I made that other bag, it was all hand sewn together. But when I get to the assembly of the bag, I'm going to see how much of that I can do on the sewing machine. And I could have sewn this pattern on there, but I really like the hand sewn look of this pattern. And I don't know, maybe I'll get comfortable with the idea of that. I bought that sewing machine. I've got a Cobra 26 from the Leather Machine Company. And when I bought that, the idea was to be able to make bags and totes so that I wouldn't have so much time involved in it. That large bag, I had probably, I said a week, there's close to 40 hours worth of labor in that. And it would be very difficult to justify. I'd either be selling it for basically nothing compared to the hours, or the price of the bag would be extremely high. And what I'd like to do is try to find something in the middle there that allows to have someone to have something handmade from me, but yet affordable. And I've given away a lot of items. I've given away belts and different things. I'd have a hard time giving away something I spent a week on. And so anyway, that's my thoughts on it. That's why I bought this sewing machine. I've got, let me show you some of the handles I've got over here, or the parts of the handle. And I'll show you what I've got, how much time I've got involved in it there. These are the side strips that go around the bag. This will be sewn in underneath the bag, and then this part doubles over, and we'll have a D-ring up here at the top that attaches to the handle. And it doesn't look like it, but there's close to an hour's worth of work at this point. By the time I cut the strip, I put in the pattern, and I used a diamond chisel to make all of the holes. I dyed the leather and then stitched it. It takes about 25 minutes for me to stitch this pattern on here. Once that's done, I need to laminate this to the backing piece. And so I figure I've got an hour in each of these. So that's one, well, you don't need to count them out. There's 6 pieces here. So there's 6 hours of work there. By the time I get this piece done here and get it attached to the bag, there's another hour there. There's 2 of these. So there's 8 hours work just in creating this piece before I ever get to assembling the bag. So my hopes are that the bag, when I did that, it was a challenge because you had to reach down inside the bag and work from one side to the other and pull that tight and do that over and over again. And this leather here that I'm using is somewhat stiff. And if you glue it to another layer, those holes remain lined up. But on a softer leather like that bag, they're not. And you almost have to hunt for that stitching hole every time you put a stitch in it. Well, the sewing machine, I should be able to clip those together and sew those through. So I'm thinking that the assembly of the bag will take me about a day. And if making the parts takes a day and assembling the bag takes a day, that makes that a 2-day project instead of a week-long project. And I think then it becomes more affordable. So anyway, that's the goal. And obviously other items I've made DOP kits with those. And a DOP kit all made by hand takes me the better part of a day. And I've sewn a few with the sewing machine, and the cutout process takes me about 30 minutes, and I can sew it together in another 30 minutes. So that makes it an hour. And interesting, I had someone comment on another video that said, well, congratulations from going from handmade leather items to a factory. And I don't know. I just kind of let those things go the best I can. I get where that comes from to a certain point. I mean, I'm really up front and clear on how an item is made. So I'm not going to try to pass off a machine sewn item as being all hand sewn. I won't do that. And my belts, at this point, I have no desire to sew those on a sewing machine. I like the way they come out. My belts, to me, are my trademark, and they're what I feel like I'm known for, are my belts, even though I do make a lot of other things. I really like the Western belt. I've got one here. This is one of my favorites. This one is black. It's got black stitching along the outside. This is gray, and it's got antique nickel spots here in the middle. So this belt here, I cut this leather out of a full hide. I hand dyed it. Every stitch on here is hand done, including the ones in the center. And I do this in 2 stages because I like the clean look on the back of the belt. So I hand stitch everything associated with the Western belt. I hand stitch the center part, put these spots in, just the top layer. Then I glue it up and I finish it. And this belt here's got, I'm gonna say, about 7 hours of work in it and $40 of materials in it to make that. And yes, I realize that if I sewed that on the sewing machine, well, just the sewing around the outside here takes me about, well, by the time I put the holes in and I do the stitching, there's an hour and a half worth of work there, maybe a little bit more, maybe an hour and 45 minutes. And I know I could sew this outside on the sewing machine, get a similar look to it, and it would be 10 minutes. Yep, 10 minutes or an hour and 45 minutes. I don't know. To me, it's a big change from where I'm at, and maybe I'll get to the direction or get to the point where I feel like that's the direction I need to go. But I don't think I do. This is what I really like to do, and I like people to, when they get it, to realize this is all handmade. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that for a second. And I'm just going to continue to sew along here. I have to glue up these strips here to get that ready to go. I've committed to having this bag done by the end of next week. So I shouldn't have a problem doing that, but I've also got other items that I'm working on as well. I just took an order, I know, about overcommitting, but I just took an order for 2 dog collars that I'm gonna be making. One's pretty good size. They said it's a bulldog, it's a 100-pound bulldog. So I'll be making that out of a little bit thicker leather than I normally use for some of my smaller dog collars. And the other one's a little bit smaller. So, yeah, I feel like I have to talk the whole time, but part of it just being here. Let's see here. Cindy Lou wants to know what's up with the long sleeves and flannel shirt. Well, it was pretty chilly in the garage this morning. I think it was about 50 degrees out here, so I like that. It's interesting. I gave one of my brothers a couple of shirts for his birthday a couple years ago, and I picked out shirts that I like. They're a plaid shirt here, and he called them a Robert shirt because that's what I wear, are these types of shirts. I'm comfortable in a long sleeve shirt, and even when it's a little bit on the warm side, I still put on a long sleeve shirt. And I've had a couple people ask me if I own anything other than 2 or 3 shirts. And what I end up doing is I'll wear this until it gets warm or later in the afternoon, or I'm dyeing leather or something, then I'll take it off, drape it over a piece of equipment over here, and there it'll sit until the next morning when I come out and I put it on. So sometimes I've got 3 or 4 videos in a row where I'm wearing the same shirt. And yes, I do own some other clothes. I just happen to like, I like what I like. And I'm thankful it finally cooled off. It was probably the 10th of November before it got to where it didn't get uncomfortable out here in my shop, which is my garage. You can see my truck sitting there. And I'd rather be on the cool side and put on something warm than the other way around. And how's the weather where you're at? Paula, what part of the world are you in? Maybe tell me what your weather's like there. I guess John's, he travels some, but I think he's basically down in Florida at this point, talking about weather. And handles are basically belts themselves. Yeah, that's true. Those handles, I make a gunslinger belt, and it's made basically the same way, except for those handles are 1.25 inches wide, and I don't like making the belts out of less than 1.5 inches wide with the gunslinger pattern. And the reason why is the pattern, I've made it where the pattern's smaller, but I want to leave room for the stitching on the outside. And it gets pretty tight here, but I figured on this bag it's going to be okay. When I sew this on, I'm going to come within 1/8 of an inch of that design on there. And there'll be a black Chicago screw here that holds the D-ring onto the bag. And then there'll be black spots on each of these diamonds here, on the handle themselves, and then on the flap, there'll be a black spot in each of these. And I've got some bigger black spots to use on that as well. Hopefully that answers the question here. Paul is in Colorado and it's windy today. Nice. I'm lucky enough to spend part of my summer or part of my year in Colorado. And I know that where we usually spend our summer, they got about 18 inches of snow the other day. And I like the snow. I like the early season snows better than the later season snows. But, you know, it's I like the snow. And so windy today. John, you didn't tell me what's your temperature down there. You must be a balmy, I'm going to say 65 degrees or 70 degrees. I don't know. This pattern, when I first started making the gunslinger, I didn't have a stitching pony to do it in, and I would do it in my lap. And the pattern, these stitches wouldn't come out in a nice straight line. They varied, and I finally figured out that it was because I wasn't completing each stitch the exact same way, and that's what makes the stitch vary from one to the next. And you can even see every once in a while there'll be one here. This stitch here looks a little bit out of place, and it has to do with when the needle goes in that I do each stitch the exact same way. Oh, hey, I see Noel's on there, and Noel's in Canada. Tell everybody where you're at there, Noel. You're up there in, are you on Prince Edward Island, or you're up in that area, right? You're in Nova Scotia? Nova Scotia, sorry. And he's probably not having 70-degree weather today. I think it'll probably get to be 65 here today, so I'm not complaining. I could do it this weather all year round. There'd be no problem with that. Now I have to flip this over so that I can continue stitching the same way when I come back the other direction. If I don't flip this over and I work away from myself, it will change how those stitches look. And when I first started doing this, I just figured if you did the stitch in your lap and kind of repeat it the same way, it would be the same, but it's not. And obviously this stitching pony helps. Since it's holding the leather, I'm able to use both hands, and I can complete the stitching a lot quicker. Not twice as fast, but it's almost twice as fast as it was when I was first doing this in my lap. And this is a Dream, it's called Dream Factory, is the stitching pony there. What's Noel doing today? So you are on Prince Edward Island. That's very nice. I've never made it up that way. My parents were up there to visit in, I think it was about 92, and they really enjoyed that area up there as well. 40 degrees where Paul is at. This is the flat part of the bag that I'm making. It's going to be this part here, which it serves a couple purposes. One, it helps keep the bag a little bit of rigidity from end to end, and the other one is the piece of leather here that the zipper's on gets sandwiched between these layers and then to the body of the bag. So it serves a couple of purposes there, besides being a little bit of eye candy for the bag. I don't know, it seemed like, when I first look at it, I'm like, well, it shouldn't take more than about 10 minutes to make the strip, and shouldn't take very long to do the stitching. But like I said earlier, I've got an hour in each of these parts for the handle system here. Does that look like an hour's worth of work? If I was guessing it, I wouldn't have guessed an hour, but there's an hour's worth of work there to make that handle piece. And I think Noel came in later, but to make that handle piece, there are the system that go on the bag. There's 6 pieces there, and each one of them has an hour in it. And then there's 2 of these for the flap. And by the time I get done, I'll have an hour's worth of work in those. And then the materials to make one of these bags, it's close to $200 in materials on it. So maybe someone should guess and tell me what they think that what that bag should be worth to sell. $200 material. I've got, like I said, 8 hours in this part of it. It took me an hour to cut out the pieces for the body of the bag as well. And shoot, I'm low on the price. Let me show you the other parts. This is the leather. This is the leather that's going to be in the bag. These are the 2 parts that the zipper gets sewn into, and then I'll attach that. So this will be on there. And I think the colors go together pretty well. The leather here, I've noticed on the camera, it comes off as looking straight brown, but it's got a little bit of a burgundy hue to it. And so does the strip. This color here is called dark mahogany. I make that by mixing a couple of colors together out of the leather dye. So that's the strips for the zipper. And then these are the end panels. There's 2 end panels, and they'll be rounded on the bottom here. And then the body of the bag here. And it's a pretty good sized piece of leather. This is 38 by 21. So just about 3 by 2. And then I've got the zipper here. And it's got a pretty good size YKK zipper here. The zipper's 3 feet long here to go across there. See if I missed any questions here. Yeah, John. If I could get $2,200 out of that, I'd do that all day long. There's no doubt about it. I don't know. I think there are places I could sell it for a lot more than what I've sold this one for. Part of it was a challenge to see what the length of time is to make the bag now that I have the sewing machine to help with that part of it there. And once again, if I had not tried to hold to my guns and be more handmade than not, I would, like this piece here, I could sew this, I'm sure, on the sewing machine. With the curve, it'll take me a little bit longer, but maybe 15 minutes to sew this, and it took me 15 minutes just to make the holes, let alone do the sewing part of it. Looks like Noel says it's kind of cool up there, 47 degrees. That's not too bad. I saw on his video, he's got a channel as well, and he's getting his snow plows and snow blowers and everything ready for his winter up there. And I don't know how much snow they get there. I would think being close to the Atlantic there, that maybe it's a little bit tempered. It's not quite like some areas, but I don't know. Maybe he gets some lake effect snows there as well. Put in a LV on it and get $4,800. There you go. Well, put in an LV on it. I don't know what an LV is. $4,800. Maybe that's some star or something there. So Noel, do you have all the firewood you need to get you through the winter? I imagine you do. John, did you say what the temperature was down there yet? Anyway, we've got a few people along here, not many. We got 7, and I appreciate you being here. Like I said, this is the first live I've done besides my drawing, and I had some help in the garage at the time when we did that. That was some time ago. That's when I had 100 subscribers, and I gave away a belt, and a gentleman out of, I think it was Virginia. It was Virginia or the Carolinas. He won that belt, and if he ends up seeing this video, he should know that he's eligible to win on the next one there. I'm going to be giving away, I think I'm going to give away 3 belts on my anniversary. And so that's pretty good odds. And all you'll have to do to qualify would be to make a note on the video where I talk about the drawing on the belt. And I'm going to be doing that somewhere around the 29th of December. I'll announce the drawing and give people an opportunity, and the winner will be able to have their pick of the styles of belts that I do with a normal buckle set on it. And that would, that's a pretty nice belt. And then I think what I'll do is on the others, I'll do a classic belt, and then beyond the classic belt, the last one will be a ranch hand. And a ranch hand is a new belt that I started making, and I wanted to have a belt that people could use and not worry about damaging. I get some people that will buy a belt, and then I'll see them later, and I'm like, how come you're not wearing my belt? It's too nice. I don't want to damage it. And so anyway, I think sometimes they think they're not tough enough, but they're pretty tough. I think they'll do just fine. Let me see here. I've actually got one of the ranch hand belts here. This is the first one that I made. And this one's in coffee bean is the color. And it's a full 1/4 inch thick leather. It's a tough belt. And I've got a stainless steel buckle on it. There's no stitching on this. My idea was to have a belt that someone could purchase and then they could go right out on the construction site or whatever and not worry about damaging the belt. It's a tough belt. It's a 1/4 inch thick, and I don't think you can wear it out anytime soon. That's for sure. It's made from full grain leather. Pretty good looking. I've got it in 3 colors: the coffee bean, black, and then I've got another one that's. I've got to decide what color name I want to use. Probably something like Arizona Sunset. It's a nice golden brown color, so it's really pretty. I think it's a pretty belt. I'll have to make myself some of them as well. It's funny, I had been making belts and giving them away for several months, and someone asked me what belt I had, and I said I don't have one yet. Yeah, John, that's, yeah, Louis Vuitton isn't made nearly that nice. Well, I don't know. I've never had one of those. The closest I've come to any bag that's expensive like that is I've walked through a Coach store a couple times, and I don't think I can hardly pay admission to go in one of those places. The bag that I've commissioned to make here, I'm doing for less than $750, John, and it probably shouldn't be, but I wanted to make one for somebody and, like I said, go through it and figure out what I've got in it as far as time. Now I have a sewing machine to do some of the more tedious sewing, and yeah, I probably should be more. I probably should charge more for the belts that I sell, but you know, if I was having to put food on the table with making the leather items, that'd be different. This is basically a hobby to keep me out from underneath the wife's feet during the day and keep me out of trouble. And I really do enjoy seeing people's reaction when they get one of my handmade items and see what, you know, they can see what it's really like. They are a nice made item. And are they perfect? No. Do I have 20 years of leatherwork experience? I don't. But once again, I think my belts come out pretty good. I know John's got a couple of my belts. And anyway, he's got enough. He'll have a hard time wearing them out, that's for sure. I'm just looking to see if I've missed anybody here. I don't think I've missed anybody. Like I said, I appreciate people being here. The middle of the day on a Saturday, you probably got better things to do than have me mumble along here in the shop. I'm gonna take a break from this and see if I can move this over. I've got those straps that I need to get glued up, and I need for the glue to dry a little bit, and I can let that happen when I come back to stitch this. Here we go. I'm still here. So to do this, I have to put contact adhesive on this lining, and this is the lining that will go on the back. And once I get it married up on the back there, I'll get it all trimmed, and then I'll sand and finish the edges on here. And then I will put a coat of Reslene over it, and then that that handle will be basically finished. And I get people from time to time ask me what contact adhesive I use, and there's some real popular brands out there. Barges is one of them that I see a lot of people use, but I use the Weldwood contact adhesive, and there's a couple reasons why. The main reason why is because if I need more, I can go over here to the hardware store and get it. And the Barges, I guess I can drive down to Tandy here in the wintertime when I'm in the Phoenix area, but in Colorado, the closest Tandy store is, imagine there's one down in Albuquerque, you know. So about a 7-hour round trip, I can go get it. And you can have the stuff shipped but it's a flammable product and it's expensive to ship that. So this is easier for me to use, and it does a good job. I put 2 coats on and I let it dry between the coats, and it might be that if I use the barges, I could get by with 1. I think I could get by with 1 coat of this contact adhesive as opposed to 2, but I know that it's not going to come apart. I've tried to disassemble a strap before just to test it, and there is no taking off the, there's no separating those 2 layers once they've been put together with that contact adhesive. It's there for good. And they really don't need to be hand sewn. The sewing that I do on the belts, it's more decorative than anything. I've made a few, I used to call them the work belt, where I'll make the belt and it has no hand stitching. It's put together 2 layers like the other one. And then instead of hand stitching, I just finish the edges out, put a buckle on it. And it gives somebody a belt, once again, that they feel like they can abuse and not worry about it. Let me set this over here to dry. I've got another one here that I've got 1 coat on. So we'll get this one here done. I don't know if I got any new questions on here. John, I appreciate you keeping things rolling with questions. Lou has an order for you. Yeah. Need a gunslinger. She's the gunslinger, that's for sure. Now, Cindy, she's one of my famous customers because I've got a belt that's named after her, the Cindy belt, and I call it that, and I still call it that because she's the first person I made that style for. I've not seen another belt like it anywhere on the market, and it's really a pretty belt. I've made, I could probably go through and name the people I've made them for, but I think I've made probably 10 of those belts now, and each one of them knows that they're wearing a Cindy belt because that's what it's called, and I even tell them where the name come from. So Cindy's becoming famous throughout the lands. Yeah, I'll contact Cindy and see what it is that she wants. Anybody going anywhere interesting for Christmas? What do they have planned for Christmas? I'm curious. I will get an opportunity to get together with my 3 children. I've got 2 boys and a girl, and we're going to spend, we're not going to spend Christmas Day together. We found a place to rent in Colorado so we could spend some time together, and we actually check out on Christmas Eve. So we'll be there, we'll be together for a week leading up to Christmas Eve. And then we'll head our own way. So it'd be kind of a different experience. Unless something changes, wife and I will be on our own for Christmas Day, which is a little bit different for me. This is getting there. Now I'll take these. These are the 2 handles. And I need to get the glue on the back of that. Whenever I layer up a belt, I leave the strings long on this, and I figure that once they get glued down, there's no way that they can come apart. So that's why that's that way. And this requires 2 coats on it, just the same as the other. Well, I'm gonna say I appreciate you being here today on this live. It helps give me a little bit of confidence, maybe to come up with some topics and do another live from time to time. Now that I'm getting ready to check out, I see I have another person that logged in there, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and check out here. Last year we were having issues in this neighborhood. We didn't have good enough cell signal where I felt like I could do a live, and the internet wasn't all that great either. It seems like it's improved, so I'm having less issues with that. So maybe leave me a comment, let me know if you think I should do lives more often. Let me look here, I see here, Noel, amounts of snow vary, not too much last year. Tractors don't get used much last year. some years 3 to 4 feet. I need some of your equipment up in Colorado, because where we spend the summer, they get about 18 feet of snow up there. That would be an average year, and a good year is going to be in the upper 20s, and a light year is around 13 feet. And obviously it doesn't come all at once, but it's not unusual to get storms where you get 3 feet over a period of a few days. So anyway, I was in the process of checking out. I'm going to go ahead and go. I appreciate you being here today, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye. Yes, Noel, that's lots of snow. Have a great day.